Hello, welcome to another episode of Now You See Me, the show where we redefine beauty from the inside out. That's my normal tagline, where we redefine beauty. Because when I first started this show, I was redefining what was beautiful. And I was dealing with getting adjusted to the lesions that were on my scalp and things like that. And learning to pull out all the negative things that were lies, things that were saying something different about me than what God said. And I often invited other people to come on and share their stories because they went through a similar experience in terms of getting to know who they are, embracing the truth, embracing who they are. And we discovered that, we're some pretty good people. We're some pretty likable people. We're some pretty lovable people. Well, recently I encountered another soul like that who had gone through quite a bit of a extraordinary ordeal. And if there's anybody that needs to be seen, it's my next guest, Lavon Hodge. This is Lavon. She is in Wiesbaden, Germany. Okay, that's about an hour from me. So I just came up to see what was going on with her. And word has it, she has a book. It's called Beautifully Broken. Learning to Trust God in My Brokenness. It sounds intriguing. But first, let's talk a little bit about you. You're in this man's army, huh?
Yes, I am. My name is Lavon Hodge. I have been in the Army, I should say, for over 27 years. And it has been a journey.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of learning, lots of growing, lots of maturing, deployments, seeing the world.
Wow.
So it has its plus and its minuses, but it has truly been a blessing in itself. So I thank the good Lord for sustaining me for this long.
Yeah. The thing about being away from home, you get to come outside of yourself and come outside of the norm. And so I got a feeling that that's kind of where some of this started, huh?
Yes, the truth. Yes, sometimes you have to get away from the environment that you're in to really allow what is in you to come out. A lot of times you tend to suppress a lot of really what's deep within you. And then it takes changing your environment, changing your surroundings, the people you hang with, in order for what is in you to be birthed. And so that is what I saw when I left where I grew up, where I went to school and life began for me. When I left there and joined the Army all the way back in 97, I didn't realize that what I was doing was I was on a mission. Had no idea, but it was all God ordained that I should leave where the place I grew up with had caused me so much pain. So with all that memories and stuff that's there, all that stuff that we stay stuck in.
I know.
And the Army was my way out. I didn't understand it at first because in my mind I'm like, okay, I got 2 kids at the time, 2 small kids, a boy and a girl, my oldest daughter, my son. No baby daddies, no help. Right. So I was a struggling mother, but I really had a heart to take care of my children, and I wanted to do something for my children, especially to give them stability. And that's when the window, or should I say the door, opened for me to join the military. And I can remember that day I walked into the recruiting office and say, well, what can the Army do for me? Most people say, what can you do for the Army? But in my case, where I was, what can the Army do for me? Because I have children. And then I just sat down with the recruiter. He kind of explained it to me. And I was like, you know what? I can do this. And then I just started training, running, walking, all the stuff that you need to do to prepare to go to the boot camp. And I joined the Army. And it wasn't a cakewalk. It had its because it's rigorous.
Right.
You're in the sun of South Carolina in the summer. Talking about sweating that girl's perm out. So with that bucket on your head. But it was interesting. It was my first time actually it was my second time. But my first time leaving the Virgin Islands was I went to live in Florida because I was trying to run away from all of that stuff that I was. And so once I hit 17, I hadn't even finished school. And I said, I got to get away. And so my boyfriend and I at the time, he had family, so we went. It didn't last. It didn't work because of, we were young.
Right.
Not enough directions. And so when things fell apart, I did what I did. I went back home. But the second time I went back home, I realized that, when you go someplace, you have to have a foundation and you have to have a real solid support system. And so for me, the solid support system was the military. And so because you join the military, you have a place to live, you have food, you get clothes. Even though the money was small, but I had been living off of government assistance for a very long time before I joined the Army, because I joined the Army at 25. And so I was living off of government assistance up to that point when I had my daughter at 18 and then my second son at 22. All I had was government assistance. So I learned how to budget on that little bit and make it stretch. So when I did join the military and I was getting a regular paycheck, I didn't see it as not enough, even though I knew it wasn't.
It was more than you were used to.
Yes, it was way more than I ever had. And so with all the skills you learned before, you just apply it and you learn how to manage and budget and take care of your children and yourself and sacrifice.
Okay, so I know you mentioned that you didn't have a big support system. And did that play a role in the book and parts of the book that you wrote?
So when I say I didn't have a big support system, truly I did not. Well, when I first joined the Army, I didn't, because I was the only one. All my other family was still back in the Virgin Islands. So here I am, this little island girl, decided to join the Army with no family, no friends. So it's just me and the world.
Gotcha.
So I joined the Army, and any support system I developed happened while I was in the military. And then my sister, I was able to get my sister to come with me, and then she became the immediate support. And so that's how that support system built. And then, of course, you meet friends in the military, people in the military, and, they become a part of that family.
What prompted you to write this?
So I lived this horrific life. And I call it horrific because it was painful. And in my heart, there has always been this desire to write. So when I was younger, I used to like to, write. I would like little poems and stuff. I never kept a diary because my mom, privacy was just not a thing in our home. And I didn't want to write things for her to get a hold of it. And then the situation just gets worse because in her eyes, there was nothing I could do that was right. I don't care what it was. I was never right at anything. So I would write little poems and, writing was always my strong suit. But I didn't think for any way or form or fashion that I would write a book and publish at all. I just knew I liked to dibble and dabble in writing. And it came easy to me even when I was in school. But in my heart, I just knew I had to tell a story, but I didn't know what that story looked like. And I never thought about writing a book per se. The idea was in my head, but the writing part, no. And even when I left home, I never really started journaling either. But it came to me the first time when I was in Fort Riley, Kansas. This was back in 2014 is when I first got there after I left Korea. And I found this really, really good church, Living Word. I think it was Living Word International Ministries. And it was a phenomenal ministry. And the pastor, one day when I was up for prayer, he was praying for me and he looked at me and he said, "There's a book in you. You need to write it." And I said, because in my heart there was this I need to write something. I just didn't know what that something was.
You knew
I just knew it. But then when he said it, I'm like, okay. And I took the word. Because, God gives you the word.
Yes.
So I took it, but I didn't do anything with it. Not at that point. And then when I said I didn't do anything, I didn't do anything. But the thought was there. The seed was planted. But I didn't do anything with it. I did my time while I was in Fort Riley. I did about 3.5 years there. Then it was time for me to move again, PCS. And then I ended up going to, at the time, it was Fort Lee, but now it's called Fort Greg Adams. And when I got there is when everything started to fall apart.
Okay, this is Fort what now?
It's Greg Adams now.
Oh, okay.
It used to be Fort Lee.
All right.
In Virginia.
Okay.
So I got there, and it seems like it started when I was at Fort Riley because I deployed and I was under a lot of stress. But when I got to Fort Greg Adams, it's when I started to have a nervous mental breakdown because the past had finally caught up.
Yeah.
The suppressing, I couldn't suppress. I had suppressed so many stuff. I just kept packing stuff. But when I got to Fort Greg Adams,
that was it.
Yes. The skeletons were coming out of the closet. And as one of the therapists told me, you have a garage and you just pack everything in there. You put the car on the outside and you pack all the junk in there, but the car is outside getting beat up and sunburned and everything. So the garage was overfull and everything was starting to flow out. There was nothing else to put.
And I know before that time, you thought everything was fine. You thought you were just struggling along. You thought you took all them feelings and just put them to the side. You're strong. You can handle it. And now you're in a situation where I wasn't handling it at all.
No, I was masking it. I was existing. I finally realized I was not living. I just existed. And I wasn't existing for me. I was existing for everybody. And when I say everybody, friends, children, husband, family, I was just existing. If you were happy, I was fine, but at my detriment.
Yeah.
The expense was on me.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that because I was so interested in everybody else's. I need to make sure you're okay because I've been rejected for so long that it was no problem for me to reject myself.
Yes.
And that's what I did for years, just reject me. And we think that we take care of ourselves when we buy nice clothes, nice purse, nice shoes, nice house. We have make the outside. I was taking care of outside. It was looking good, dressing good, smelling good. But inside was deteriorating. It was toxic. It was sick. And whatever it is on the inside, whatever people saw on the outside, never got allowed. They were not able to see what was so bad on the inside.
But that's really part of our generation. Because you looked good and your bows matched your dress and all of that. And everything was ironed and everything was pressed and your hair was laid down to the side. But mental health was not an issue. You just took it and you moved on.
And I became so good at it. I could wear a mask. And it was like I was on the stage and I was playing this part. And I had become so good at playing that part that I could fool myself and the world. And not realize that in doing that, I had taken on that personification of pretending to be someone I was not.
Wow.
So even when I got married, even as a mother, it's like I was going through the motion of everything without embodying it.
Yeah.
And that is what came to a head when I got to Fort Greg Adams.
Wow. I know you mentioned some things about abuse in your book. Can you just expound on that a little bit more?
So, I know they always talk about, 1 in 4 girls, I believe, and I don't know if the number has gotten high statistic-wise, 1 in 4 girls will experience some form of sexual trauma within their lifetime. And what I came to realize that, before I tell you the story, is that 1 in 4 have experienced sexual encounter multiple times. It's never just that one incident. It becomes an incident throughout. Because for me, my sexual abuse started when I was 6, and it was my stepfather. And it bothered me, and the worst part is I didn't even realize that's what it was, because it was never outright. It was always very masked, touching, so you never really think about it.
Right.
So for all my life, when I didn't even realize that I was molested, because it was always under the disguise of playful touching. And until you became, I got old, and I, you know how they used to do those things, and you realize, oh my gosh. And now you even know worse, you were groomed. And it really bothered me. But apart from the sexual abuse that my stepfather was doing, it is the physical and emotional abuse from my mother that really broke me. Because if you can't tell your mom, who do you tell? If the person that gave birth to you, that's supposed to protect and love you, don't trust you, or you can't trust them, who else do you tell your secret to?
You don't. You keep it inside, and that's probably where all of the garage started to fill up.
That's where I started. That's where my garage started filling up, because, not to tell much of my secret, because it's my life anyway. So I am a child, or I should say I'm the product of an affair. So I'm an outside child, and it was a long secret. It was a secret. And when I was born in the U.S., not in the U.S. Virgin, I was born in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is the Caribbean Islands. And so while I was there, everything was good, because nobody really paid attention. Nobody knew us. But the problem is, when we moved, when my stepfather filed for all of us, we migrated to Sydney, because I'm an immigrant, just like anybody. So we moved to the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is U.S. territory. So there is where we live and grew up, and that's where my family was. But that's the problem, because that's where my father was. And that's where family was. And small communities. And everybody's in everybody's business. So when I show up looking different, because all my sisters were light-skinned, because they kind of look like...
Right.
But I was black as could be.
Beautifully brown.
Beautifully dark brown, thank you. As you say. But really dark. And I didn't fit the mold. I didn't look like anybody in the family. So the neighbors started talking. And once the neighbors started talking, the abuse started.
Because her secret was out and she couldn't hide it anymore. You think that's what it was?
Today, knowing, yes. The secret, it was coming out. It was starting to leak out, because what happened is people started to see resemblance. And they're like, wait a minute, you know, the little person. And then my mom was a Christian. We were supposed to be a Christian family. So, being a Christian family, those chatters don't necessarily make you feel comfortable, because it questions your character. Right. And so I think that is one of the things that became the issue with her. She wanted to keep the secret hidden, but the Bible tells you what's done in the dark will come.
Well, it will.
And God understands our pain. It would have been one thing if you tried to keep the secret and you love the child. It's another thing to keep the secret and just you totally hate. And I say hate, and I know it's a strong word, but the behavior and the treatment, it felt that way to me. It felt like just straight hate. Because when I look at some of the things she did to me, you can't say it was anything else. It was pure hate to me. And that's what I felt. And that's what I grew up in. That rejection, that you're never good enough. And it wasn't just me thinking this. These are verbal words that came out of her mouth. You're never good enough. You'll never be anything. I wish I had killed you. Those are the things that I grew up.
Did she honestly say that? She wished?
She would say, I wish when you were being born, I had squeezed my legs and, suffocate the baby, which is what she said to me. And she didn't just say it one time. It was a constant reminder.
Okay, I know that other people in the house are hearing this and other people around you are hearing this. So was there no response in your defense?
No response. But she would, and we grew up in a home, and I'm talking about me and my sisters, where we were it was so strict. You just know you was in trouble if you did something that you don't have no business doing. We gonna wear pants, we gonna wear jewelry. We were, church was all it is. If it wasn't church, you forget it. You had no life. It was just straight church. So we knew the beatings, and we were fearful. So we didn't, in order to be kids, and I wrote in the book, you had to be clever, which is so weird. Yeah. You had to be clever just to be a kid because you were so fearful of your parents. And so nobody said anything, and it didn't change until way later. Way later, this one instance, and by then I was already, I think I was about 14, 15, maybe about 15-ish. And my mom, I have to take you back in order to take you.
Okay, that's fine.
So I'm living at home, I'm abused. My mother don't like me because she can't stand the sight of me because I look like my father and I look like my siblings. Okay. So the constant reminder of her mistake is she projected all her hate, all her rage, all her anger on me. And so I'm growing up in this atmosphere every day. You can't do anything right. You can't. My grades, I had great grades. I had the best grades, and I'm not boasting, but I know I did better in school than anybody because I would get the awards. But I think she came to my only one I can remember of my award ceremony in school. That's it. Nothing else. But I kept climbing the academic ladder. Academically, I was good. I don't know how, but I was academically really good. I did excel in school, but at home it was a war zone, and you never felt good. You go home and you always try to stay in the corner because you want to be out of sight, but they find every reason,
to bring you back down,
to bring you down, to shred you. And to pull you into something that, I'm just trying to avoid. I stay quiet and try to just be invisible.
See, when children are around this type of thing, did you get any of that from your siblings? Because if they see mom doing it, then chances are they were going to try to do. Did they try to do those types of things to you, degrade you in any way?
My older sister used to always be upset when I would try to hang out, tail behind her. That is the only thing. And from time to time, they'll call me black.
You're gonna have to have something in the house with children, okay?
But other than that, it wasn't like overt bullying. And we each had our own trauma and pain to deal with.
I got you. So everybody had their own thing. They were trying to survive like you.
Trying to survive just like me. It's just that I got the worst of it.
Okay. Wow. Well, in relationships, so that has to affect how you enter in relationships because you didn't have the right view of you, you're going to always attract the wrong thing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so when it came to relationship, oh my goodness, I have an F in that department. I get a straight F in that department because for the longest, I wasn't doing the hard work. Okay. I was just in relationship because the truth of the matter is I spent a good portion of my life trying to please my mom. For whatever reason, I don't know. But I kind of understand now. Your mom is your first love, really. I mean, that's where you learn love, from your mom and your dad. And if you never get it, then you start looking for it in places you ain't got no business looking for it. And you will find it too. So for me, relationship became will my mom accept this person? Does my mom like this person? If my mom likes this person, then it's good. So, but I remember when my daughter's father, my mom didn't like him. And so when we got into a place where the relationship was falling apart, I didn't fight to even do anything about it. I mean, he cheated on me, but if you really want a relationship, you try to find a way. But I didn't because my mom didn't like it. So because she didn't like it, I figured, okay,
And you find her always in the back of your mind when you
Yes.
get ready to buy a car, or you're getting ready to buy that dress, that color, or you're getting ready to do anything. She's always in the back of your mind.
For
the voice.
for very, very, very for the most part of my life, to be honest with you. Yes, she stayed in the forefront, in the back of my mind. And so when we broke up, it was just my daughter. And then I met this other guy, and he was nice to me. I don't know if I knew what I was looking for. I just knew I was a single mom, and I just needed somebody to love me, respect me, and take care of me and help me raise my kids. And when we got married, but I had made up in my mind, because before I met him, I had met my son's father, and he blew me out of the water. And I said that not because he was a good person, but what he projected, or he wanted me to see, was good. I mean, he was one of the first person who told me I was beautiful, because I hadn't heard that in a long time. And he showed interest in me. So, of course, that's all I see. Oh my goodness, this guy's attracted me. And he was a nice looking guy. I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on here? And so when he came at me, I'm like, wow. So that's all I saw was, okay, somebody's interested in me. So we started dating, and I remember I didn't see it coming, because he always was nice to me. He was always a gentleman up until this one day when he used to always close with me at work. And this one day, I thought, okay, I found this nice guy. I'm not going to rush it. I want it to be right, so I'm going to wait. I'm not going to put out there. I'm just going to wait. But that was not his idea. And when that opportunity presented itself, he took advantage and assaulted me in the bathroom. And he reminded me that, you wanted it. And I didn't say anything at the time, but over time I believed it. I accepted. Okay, maybe I did. And I didn't think for some reason it didn't come to my mind that word R, that big R word that a lot of us use, is what he did. I never used the word.
But you have to think about it when you are so downtrodden upon you and not really knowing who you are outside of other people, then he can gaslight you and do all kinds of stuff like he did and throw kinds of those things at you that now it wasn't your fault. But in that state that you were in, you couldn't have possibly known, or you couldn't have it would not have registered, is what I'm saying to you. Now, I know you said that you've gone through and you've done all the work. Have you forgiven yourself?
I have.
Okay.
I have forgiven myself, and I have forgiven all of them. I had to do the hard work because I was unable to be present for my children. I was there, but I wasn't fully present. I wasn't there to be present for my husband. I was physically there, but emotionally and mentally, I was absent because all of that stuff that I'd been stuffing in the garage had taken up all the space. Whatever I was given was what was left. So, and it wasn't much when you think about it.
I know.
So it wasn't until I realized that I had to do the hard work in order to be fulfilled and do what I need to do, that I was able to start move shame, guilt, self-hatred, self-loathing, so low self-esteem, because for the longest, I never saw myself as worthy of anything. Not love, not anything. Being happy. I didn't see myself as deserving of those things at all.
Well, I want you to talk to the people who are listening. And as we close out, I want you to pull out your biggest epiphany, the biggest thing that you've gotten from all your work and all of your emptying out that garage, one piece at a time, one box at a time. What do you want the people to know?
So when I wrote the book, Beautifully Broken, it's because in my eyes, I saw brokenness. But when God looks at us, He sees beauty in the brokenness. And realizing that in order for Him to put that piece together and make it beautiful, you have to be willing to surrender all of the stuff that you have. Not that what you didn't experience means something or it's meaningless, because actually it is very meaningful. But you can't live your life from that point. I came to realize that my pain, my suffering, and my brokenness was my starting point, not my end point.
Right.
And so God was telling me, you see brokenness. I see the beauty in that brokenness. I see the purpose in that brokenness. I see life, growth, and development in that brokenness. So you were born for purpose, with purpose, and on purpose, and that's for me. I have purpose for you, and you are worth something. You are about something, and you cannot allow what you went through to define where you're going and who you are.
Wow. Well said. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Lavon Hodge. The name of the book is Beautifully Broken, Learning to Trust God in My Brokenness. Thank you so much for watching the show this week. Be blessed, okay? If you're looking for a life coach, go to www.JeanetteMJones.com and sign up for a free 15-minute complimentary session. I assure you, you will not be disappointed. You know, when I first started my television show, I was terrified. One, because it was uncharted territory. And another reason was because of the name itself, Now You See Me. It gave the air of transparency. And I wasn't sure if I was ready for everybody to see me. But I said yes. And it's been a journey that I will never forget nor regret. It was maturing. It caused me to open up. It caused me to not be afraid of my feelings. It was fun to create. Even if some of the topics, I will be honest, I didn't really want to talk about, but I felt in my heart of hearts that that's what I was supposed to be talking about that week. But as you go through one thing and you're at one level, then God puts you in a position where you go to the next level. I have a channel, Filling in the Gap, and the name itself speaks volumes. It means that we're going to be filling in the spaces and giving people information that's going to move them from point A to point B. I know in my life, it seems like I was right there on the edge of something always, and then somebody came by to give me what I needed to push me on to the next level. And that's what I want for this channel. So if you are a person that feels like God has called you and you have a vision, you have something to share with the people. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be cooking, it could be exercise, it could be whatever. But you're really, really feeling like what you have is what somebody else needs. Then you may be the person that's perfect for this channel. Click on the link, fill in your information, and you will get a link to the session via email. Okay? So I am looking forward to talking to you. And I'm excited for you. I'm very excited for you. Because I know on the other end, there's just people recognizing your brilliance. Go ahead, sign up.